and interrupt my journey. And that interruption necessitated a...
Well, your delivery is too academic. What you mean by interrupt your journey? Can you tell us what you mean? How did it happen? What was the experience? What did you receive that made you believe it was God interrupting your journey?
Well, I was in a season of my life when suddenly I began to feel a lot of vacuum and emptiness. I was very fat and flourishing, and I thought that I should lose some weight, just engage in a campaign of weight losing. I actually did that, but the emptiness remained. But suddenly, somebody one day came to me and said, I want to go on a dry fasting, 3 days dry fasting. And I asked, is that possible? The person said, yes. I said, so what have I to do with your 3 days dry fasting? He said, can you help me get CDs? Now, I was a Catholic priest, and the only place I had to do dealings was Catholic bookshops. And this person was asking me to go to a non-Catholic bookshop to get those CDs. I didn't know what made me to agree, because normally I would have given the person the finances needed to execute those requests. But I said, okay, I will go. But when I went to those bookshops, I saw the CDs that the person requested. But something drew my attention to the books on the shelf. Now, we are used to seeing books that had very cool titles like Novena to Mary, The Way to St. Joseph, all those calm titles. But here in this bookshop, I saw very rugged titles like How Revival by Fire, How to Catch Fire, Hunger This. But one actually caught my attention. That was it was written, If You Could See the Invisible, Do the Impossible by Oral Roberts. I picked the book and I looked at it. Now, I liked the title and I was wondering, what's this book all about? The moment I tried returning the book back to the shelf, my fingers began to burn. Very strangely, like you could light a matchbox. So I was confused. I said, what was happening to me? I looked at my fingers. It was not burnt, but the sensations were real to me. And I had a witness, take this book and read. That was the beginning of the journey. I paid for the books. I went home and I consumed that book from 9 p.m. until morning. And thereafter, I said, God, if you're the one responsible for this experience, give me another book. So I said I was not going to the same bookshop. I knew there were other non-Pentecostal bookshops in Jos. That was in Jos. So I went to another bookshop called Challenge Bookshop. They had more book titles. I saw another book. Now, that season, Jos was very cold, and everybody was in their cardigan. And I walked into that bookshop, went to a particular shelf, saw this book, and I began to look at it. Immediately, the atmosphere around me changed. I began to feel very warm, very sweet atmosphere. I was wondering, everybody was feeling very cold, but mine was different. I picked that book and I looked at it. And the title was Rediscovering God's Kingdom Ideas by Myles Munroe. Again, I had a witness, take and read. I picked the book. I went home. I began to read. And that book made me ask myself a question. Who am I? And what am I doing right now? Because after reading Oral Roberts, I began to realize that there was things that pertain to the life of a man of God, a minister, and I checked myself. I didn't have those evidence. And I began to ask God what was happening. That was the beginning of a journey. It began to lead me from one book to the other. Now, after reading Myles Munroe book, I said, I'm not still sure that it is you that is speaking to me. I'm going to another bookshop, and I want to confirm that you're the one leading me. Now, I went to another bookshop. I saw another book by A.W. Tozer. I can't remember the title. It was the only title on that shelf. I went, then the person said, yes, I have a pastor friend. That was how I was introduced to a pastor, very genuine man of God, very humble, on fire. First of all, he resisted me because his question was, how can you, a Catholic